She's a doctor.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dovec, and she's a dietitian.
Hey, I'm Hannah Schuyler, and together we are the Weight Loss Collab.
Yes, and welcome back. It's been a while
It
since we have been
has,
together.
I know, it's been very busy. There's
It
been a lot
has
going
been
on.
busy. I know it's December when we're recording this. I don't
Mhm.
know when you're listening to it out there, but it is the beginning of December and it is a powerhouse month.
Yes, it's just been one thing after another. So we've been together, but we
Yes, we
just
have.
haven't had time to actually sit down and dedicate time to this, which is very sad because we always have it on the list.
It is. It is. And
Like,
we have some great ideas. And hopefully today's episode will be one that is something that you are going to find a lot of value in if you're listening out there. So we are talking about how you can live longer.
yes,
So we're going all in on what are the things that you can do every day that impact your longevity.
yes. Which, like, I don't think we think about in a like specific day-to-day way. I think it's kind of this idea like sure we want to live longer and everything, but like to actually be like, okay, what am I putting into practice to make that more of a reality or to like set that as a goal.
Yeah, I mean, every single one of my, I guess, personal or professional development books that I read, everything in there has a section on living like you're dying, realizing that you will one day die, and how do you make the most of it? And in this case, how do we expand the time for as long as possible, too? So
Hmm.
there are absolutely some things that are going to be, I think, maybe somewhat new to some people, and some of it's going to be like, yeah, I know that, but I just needed to hear it again, and I need in this new year to really put into practice and go
Hmm.
there from beyond, make it a habit.
Yeah. Yeah, this really kind of does. I hadn't even got, I have my brain can't function that far out. You're talking weeks out for to New Year's. But like, yeah, this
Yes.
is exactly. It's kind of like how does this play into and like we talk about setting goals a lot and having that why of why we do things. And I think sometimes like this might be that perfect thing of like, okay, in the new year, just use oh, I want to exercise more. Okay, well,
Hmm.
that's like on its head, not a great goal because it doesn't, but like if you can start to put some motivation behind it of like, because I want to extend my, like, not only my life, but my healthy life
Yes.
by like good, we want more good years in our lives. And I think that plays all of these things play into having just like higher quality years as well.
Yeah, definitely. You have to, yeah, it's not just like, oh, I'm going to live long, but I can't move. It's like,
Right.
it's just not great.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make that happen for you, and all these things start now. Little things. We're gonna go in. We're gonna tell our own personal stories of how we're applying them or how we're going to apply them
Here we
to our
go.
lives, and all the things we're gonna do.
Yeah.
So the first thing is the biggest thing. I think it's no surprise, but when you're looking at okay, what is longevity really tied to? It's tied to metabolic health. So we all have this. We have our biological age, our chronological age, but we also have our metabolic age. And metabolic age is directly tied to not how much we weigh, but where we
Mm.
basically carry our weight. And
Hmm.
so it's all about visceral fats. And visceral fat is that internal, centrally located distribution to your weight that's on the inside that is just really what all of these other issues kind of stem from. And it
Hmm.
has to do with your body composition, and everybody's a little different in that regard. So
Hmm.
some people carry their weight in their periphery or basically more in the subcutaneous tissue. So their fat is more in their hips and butts and arms. It's more of a female distribution versus this visceral type of distribution where your abdominal wall or your subcutaneous fat, the amount that's right underneath your skin, that might be so thin,
Hmm.
and that's because, whoa, whenever I'm doing surgery, I put the trocar in and it's barely in. I'm like, oh, that means that is that dangerous distribution we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like if you're thinking of like a visual, it's like the apple versus pear like shape. If we remember, what Cosmo or Vogue or probably Teen Vogue, those kinds of things. Like, how do you dress for your body shape? Like this would be like the apple is going to be that central. So we're thinking larger waist circumference and things like that, waist to hip ratio is
Mm,
bigger, things along those lines versus that like pear or hourglass type of shape where, and again, like you said, a lot of women have that kind of lower to your hips, it's that lower adiposity um, shape.
right. And so some people, there's a phrase called skinny fat where
Hmm.
you look good. You're like, wow, they don't need surgery. They don't need a
Right.
GLP-1. They're like conventionally, quote, thin.
Hmm.
But like, their BMIs are in the 20s or low 30s, and they have diabetes, and it's type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance or PCOS or like
Hmm.
some of these like metabolic conditions. And you're like, really? You have that? And it is begin because they have really skinny arms, really skinny legs,
Hmm.
and the weight is just right
In
there,
that
just around
midsection.
the
Hmm.
midsection.
Yeah.
And that skinny fat is just dangerous. It's really,
Yeah.
really dangerous. And that's how we're going to make every change and every habit, everything that we do is really targeting that very specific type of fat
Right.
as well.
Which is really difficult to do. So like if you've struggled with it, it's sticky, it's hard, it's like there and changing that composition is a challenge. And you probably
It,
also won't move it from your stomach to your butt, so you don't expect to like suddenly have like a big booty or anything like that either.
I know. And that's another thing, like with Irene, with Dr. Tower and Body by Beauty, her cosmetic practice, she says that sometimes she'll have people come in and they're like, oh, my abdomen, it makes me crazy. And she's like, there's nothing to lipo. Because
Right.
again, the fat isn't there for her to be able to go right underneath the skin and get it out. She's
Right.
like, I don't have enough to
It's not
lipo
going to
and
do anything for you. Yeah.
not going to do
And that's
anything.
also why lipo, like people will ask about that. They're like, why can't I just do like lipo and lose the weight that way? And it's like, that's not pulling that dangerous, that unhealthy fat out of your body. It's pulling that, kind of subcutaneous fat, like you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the deal. Why is being skinny fat or having that visceral distribution, why is it so dangerous? So it it accelerates aging. So it's taking years off of your life. And it's not fair because it is genetics. And so that's, I think, a really just, kind of your blueprint that you're born with. It's kind of how you distribute your weight, and it's just not fair. It will also drive inflammation. So we have a theory behind a lot of our patients also have autoimmune conditions. And I do think that there is also a relationship between the amount of fat that you have, especially visceral or internal fat, with the inflammatory markers that are kind of set off. So that kind of puts your body in this state where it isn't an autoimmune or basically it's attacking itself because of the amount of fat you have and where it is. So it makes you more inflamed. That also increases cortisol, that also increases stress, which also puts the weight on your abdomen, which also perpetuates emotional eating. So we're going to go through all of that,
Yes.
but that's a lot of it. And so that is something that it can, again, take years off of your life that we really want to focus on.
Yeah. So I guess then that takes us into is like, all right, so now we know, part of the issue when it comes to longevity and especially when it regards to weight. Of course, there's other things like we mentioned, like your genetics are going to play a role in how long you live and different things like that. But what can we start to do about kind of working to lose or maintain if you don't have a lot of it, that, lower kind of visceral fat?
Yeah, so let's dive in and let's start first with your area of expertise. Let's eat for extra years, my friend. So
Mhm.
let's talk about the diet. I think a lot of you who are listening know about the diet, but let's just refresh what you feel like is the best diet and why we kind of feel like it's the best one to recommend.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I always tell people that, dietitians are really going to give the most boring advice to you, but it's sound and it's what kind of consensus is, and it's being a moderate diet. It is making sure you are getting adequate amounts of protein in the diet. I think from a weight loss perspective, we know that that's huge. Really protecting your muscle mass in that as well, especially as you lose weight. And that protein can come from plant and animal sources. So
Mm.
I think that, people talk about like the Mediterranean diet, which has pros and cons to it in like a cultural context and all sorts of things like that. But the concept of it is, more plant forward, things like healthy fish, seafood, things along those lines, limited processed or red meats. Again, I don't think it's ever, it's great because it's not really ever saying zero of a lot of those things. But really just trying to get that good variety in your protein sources and having that as part of it. And then also just I think that the more plants in general that we add to our diet, the better it is when it comes to weight, our health, our longevity, things like that. So increasing, nobody, basically like 90%, I don't know the exact figure, but somewhere between like 85 and 90% of people are not eating enough fruits and vegetables in their
Mm.
diet day to day. And so if you can increase that number up, look at where you are, add an extra serving of a per day, have a little smoothie or something, like a high protein smoothie, get some extra fruit in there. Beans, lentils, nut seeds, like those really high fiber foods as well. We talk about, I keep saying it, fiber is like having its
Mm.
moment. She's kind of becoming that girl. She hasn't replaced protein yet. I don't know that anything will ever replace protein in the nutritional cultural zeitgeist, but fiber is like number two right now for sure. And helps with number two. But increasing that because that helps with satiety. So you're gonna feel fuller from your meals for longer. It helps your GI tract. So it's gonna feed that good gut bacteria. It's gonna help with things like our cholesterol levels. It is gonna help to keep you regular. I mean, we're seeing things like colon cancer on the rise in younger people. And so like things like that keep better GI habits, and fiber can really play a role in some of those things as well.
I love it. Fiber, she is that
She
moment.
is that girl. Oh my God.
She is that girl. She is this moment. Oh
And
my gosh,
and just so
yes.
you know, general recommendations are for women to be at about 25 grams of fiber. That's women. I want to say 20 to 65, and then over 65, I think it drops, but don't quote me on that. And if you get more, it's fine. And then for men, it's over 30 grams a day, I believe. So I just
Get your
that's
fiber.
most people are again same with the veggies, the fruits. People are not getting that fiber in, and you do have to really like work for it. It's not necessarily like an easy thing to do. So, and if you are a post-bariatric patient, it's really difficult just because your
Yeah.
overall intake is so much lower. Your caloric intake is so much lower. So, supplements are totally fine as well. Benefiber, Metamucil, whatever,
Yeah, and
hydrocodone.
that's I couldn't agree more. And that's why, remember, guys, especially right after surgery, when you're just taking in so little and you're just focused only on protein, you get really constipated. And we have whole
Hmm.
episodes on constipation, but it can be really painful and
Hmm.
just really uncomfortable. So yes, fiber is great. In all these situations. So the high level overview, we're looking for a higher protein,
Hmm.
lean proteins, animal-based proteins, plant-based proteins, lots of great ideas. Then a lower carb, especially lower like kind of refined carbs,
Hmm.
starchy carbs,
Yeah.
and then little to no added sugar, especially
Yes.
try to avoid drinking your sugars.
Hmm.
And I think that that single tip in your diet changes. If you're doing everything else pretty much for the most part pretty good, if you stop drinking your sugar, stop
Yes.
drinking the soda, stop drinking the Starbucks runs with all the little
Stop
syrups and added.
juice, which I know there'll be dietitians out there who will be like, don't demonize juice and whatever, but it's gonna have a very similar impact on your body as drinking any kind of sugar sweetened beverage that's sweetened, with the added sugar. So, if it's something you have every so often, but like the orange juice every morning with breakfast, it's just not do have an orange instead, you
Mm.
know? Because then you're gonna get less sugar, you're gonna get more fiber, you're gonna get full from it. Like make that easy swap. You still get the pleasure of having that citrus and it's good vitamin C and all of that, but like, make that switch. I still
Absolutely.
have not given the baby juice, and I'm very proud of that fact. She will be 2 in January, and
That is
I think she's had
honestly
juice once.
amazing.
Somebody else gave it to her, but um, I shut that down.
Absolutely. No, I think that's so good. And that's a whole different thing
Yeah.
about kids and what you
Uh-uh.
do for them. And like society is like, of course it's no juice. Look
It's
at the
just juice.
amazing
Yeah.
marketing. Yeah, look at the
Yeah.
campaigns. Look at the
She
cute like
loves
Bluey's drinking juice, you know?
does she eat basically unlimited amounts of fruit? yeah, ask my grocery bill. Like, like, yes, this girl she calls it the big, you have to get her the big apple. We cut the peel off and she eats an entire apple.
Wow.
It's crazy. But yeah, one other thing with kind of the diet recommendations is our third macronutrient, which we tend to forget about
Oh,
sometimes. We don't
yes.
talk about it, but it's
And
fat. And this is
yes.
another one that's big in the media right now, big in the discourse and everything, is that saturated versus unsaturated fat. The research will continue to tell us that replacing saturated fats with unsaturated fats is a heart healthy option. And so when
Wow.
we're thinking about longevity, we're thinking about heart health. That's a big one. So I know you're going to start hearing things about using beef, tallow or, increasing animal fats and all of that that may even be coming in some of our nutrition recommendations. That is really truly not following the science. People are afraid of seed oils, which is kind of a made up term anyway. They are not unsafe. They're not rancid. They're not, if your oil is rancid, you'll know, because it will smell and taste terrible. But, definitely focusing more on those plant-based types of products and unsaturated fats. So any type of olive oil, you can do canola, vegetable, whatever, especially if you are replacing something that's a saturated fat like a butter or a lard or a beef tallow or, these kind of highly saturated fats. So just something to consider. Nuts and seeds, again, another really great source of heart healthy fats. Now, things like a fish or something like a fatty fish, like a salmon, that's going to give you those great omega 3s. So you can definitely get those as well. But just thinking of how to just keep that balance in check.
Absolutely. So macros, if just to review, you got protein, which is the one we want you to kind of go for the most. Then you got fats, and then you got carbs. And carbs is what we really want to try to limit. And then of course there's different types of fats, like you just said. So lots of good tips. We're not going to drink our sugars anymore, or we're going to limit that as much as we can. And we're going to just really focus kind of what we're doing, and then also eating 3 meals a day too. And we
Yes.
talk about this all the time. When you skip a meal, you're more likely to go off track because you're starving and you're hungry and your body is in survival mode and you're going to eat whatever the hell you want at that time. And that is where things can go off, off plan. So
Yeah.
you want to make sure you're on that.
And something else with that is I have a lot of people who skip breakfast. Like it's a really common thing. And of course, then they're super hungry by the end of the day. And so they tend to overeat. But not only is that like cause that problem, but you're actually more insulin sensitive in the morning. And so actually eating in the
Huh.
morning is like it's a better metabolic response, which was something I learned. Like, or I guess there's just been more research coming out about that. So yeah, skipping breakfast, not great.
Wow. I'm putting this all down here for some really hot takes here. Eat breakfast, get your fiber. I
There we go.
stop drinking sugar. We got it.
Yeah.
Those are the three big things.
World problem solved.
Yeah, you're going to live forever now. Great. That might contribute to a world problem
Hmm.
if we live forever.
Hmm.
Awesome. Okay, now the next one is basically the thought that sitting is the new cigarettes.
Mm.
Sitting is disease is where we're all here at our computers, especially since COVID, where we're just typing away. We don't stand up. Our watches are alerting us at all moments to get moving, and we're just not doing it.
Hmm.
And it's very detrimental. I just saw that special in 60 Minutes where that researcher and physician was talking about the most important things are your VO2 max, how long you can hang on the bar, like your cardiovascular kind of fitness levels, how fast can you run, how much can you lift.
Oh,
That
jeez.
is important to and stretch and move your body. So,
I'm dying at
ooh,
40, guys.
I know. We do just sit
Uh-huh.
here. Yeah. I mean, the thing about exercise, we talked about this a lot. People, when they come to see us, let's say you're really at the start of your weight loss journey and you're like, oh, well, how can I even do this? Because I can't exercise. I can't
Mhm.
move because my weight might make me have like an injury. Like I might
Mhm.
actually get physically hurt from doing it. So we're not saying that you should just run out today and just start like going for it.
Mhm.
But I think you should be cognizant of like, okay, like what am I doing today? So Well, let's go in here. So, Hannah, as you know, it's if you are moving around for 150 minutes of moderate exercise
Hmm.
a week, which is a lot. I mean, that's
Yeah.
30 minutes a day for 5 days in a week, clearly. It will cut your risk of death by 20 to 30%.
Wow.
And but you're not going to really see much weight loss with it, which I
Right.
think, when you want to be rewarded for your good behavior and you want to see like, oh, that number on the scale go down, but you're just really
It's really
not.
not.
So that's tough.
It is. And I have people tell me that all the time. They're like, yeah, I've exercised, I'm working out 6 days a week and blah, 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 blah. And I'm not saying it. I'm like, ultimately, exercise is not the driver of weight loss. Like, it really is the diet and metabolic changes and things. But it's really important. It's an important, like, I always say it's like a partnership between the diet and the exercise. And really, when we think about, especially from a weight loss perspective, like that maintenance is really where we see the exercise being that key player in
Oh,
maintaining your weight loss because especially again this is just I think luckily there's just more and more research coming about women's health and through
mhm.
perimenopause menopause stages like they are just showing that women need to be lifting weights more often and we have for so long not been told that and it's been seen as kind of like men's exercise and it's
Mhm.
not and so I think that when we do that, when we add that resistance, whatever it is, resistance training of any type, because you're going to build that muscle, it's going to increase your metabolism, increase the amount of calories that you burn at rest. And so you can maintain your weight a lot easier at that point.
Absolutely. That's important. It's important for even your bones and
Hmm.
you get osteoporosis or bone fractures as we age and just the changes in the estrogen as you mentioned, that has a lot of impact. So it's important that you start these habits as soon as you can. Pick
Hmm.
something that you like and enjoy so you'll stick with it. We talk about that. But it might not be changing the number on the scale, but what we have seen with exercise over and over is that your blood pressure is going to go down. It helps with if you're looking at your blood work, which I'm going to tell you what are the key labs that you should get checked every single year and why. But it will improve that overall lipid panel, which is looking at your total cholesterol, your LDL or bad cholesterol, your HDL or great cholesterol, and also your triglycerides, which triglycerides, in my opinion, are the most important thing on a lipid panel. It's the most directly linked to your kind of overall health, your overall diet, and how much carbs you're getting, I feel like is related to the triglycerides. Second most important thing is HDL, which is the good cholesterol. You really want that number to be higher. Even you'd rather that number be higher than the LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, being lower. I'd rather see good HDL levels. And it's going to help with your overall mentality. It makes your mood better. Whenever I am super stressed and for me, it would be like those memes that you see right now. People are like joking, like, oh, I just got to go for my cigarette break. And then they're pretending that they have like the
Yeah.
Debbie's, like Christmas tree thing that they're out there
Uh-huh.
with. But for me, I have to go outside and I just like, you'll see me storming around my neighborhood. I talk about this all the
Stomps.
time. Stomping. I have to stomp and move. And then I'm like, okay, I'm clear. I'm not as upset. I can think like I can make this decision, not be
Mhm.
so emotional about it. So I have to move. I know Irene has to work out before she operates. She
Mm.
has to. She works out 7 days a week. She just does it because it's like her natural antidepressant. Like
Yeah.
she's talked very clearly that exercising has truly changed her life, has saved her life in some of
Hmm.
her kind of personal sharings that she has, some of you know about. But it does help your mental health so immensely. It helps again, like you're saying, muscle and bone health. But another one we're going to talk about in its own category is it helps you to sleep. It is
Mm.
true. I sleep so much better. I have a sleep IQ on my bed that I look at every day. I have to know my metrics. Like, how did I sleep? Like, Aaron's like, how did you sleep? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Let me check. He's like, but like, you can't
How
just
do you
tell me how you slept.
feel? Yeah.
No, I have to know what the metrics
No.
say. What does the
The
objective
bed
data tell
tells
me?
me. Yeah.
The bed tells me if it was good or not. I'm like, damn it, my heart rate was up. That was not a good night's sleep.
Hmm.
But I will know that my heart rate will actually be lower and I have like so much longer REM sleep
Yeah.
and I'm so much more restful and I'm not moving or restless or getting up or anything if I exercise. Because
Yeah.
of course yeah, you're tired after like moving more. So
Yeah. And
it's
that's
important.
it's interesting too though because a lot of times, I'll talk to people and they'll say, "Yeah, I really haven't." been able to start incorporating exercise yet, or I get home from work and I'm so exhausted that I just can't do it, or I don't, can't wake up earlier to do it in the morning because I'm already up at, 5 o'clock in the morning for work or whatever it might be. And I'm like, it feels so counterintuitive sometimes, but it will also improve your energy levels. Like if
Mm,
you can get out the door, put the shoes on and take the first step out of the door, like you will find that it does naturally like actually improve your energy levels too. Like ultimately, sure, it's going to make you feel like able to rest better, but I think that it also allows you to like perk back up. Like it gives you
yes,
like in the words of Elle Woods, it gives you endorphins,
that's
which make
right.
you happy, and happy people just don't kill their husbands.
That's
So,
correct.
because that
Yeah,
movie is scientific.
it is. Hey, we're
Yes.
still quoting it. It's still
Yes.
holding up.
The
It's holding up
ammonium
the test of time.
glycosylate or whatever
Oh my
for
God,
the
I'm going to watch
perm.
that this weekend. Oh, yes.
Great
No,
movie.
that is such a great point. It does give you more energy. In fact, yesterday, I know that you were out with your mom, so you were out of the office yesterday. And normally on Thursdays, for those of you who really care, Hannah and I work together, and that's when those are my favorite days
I know, they're the
of all
best.
time because that's when we sit together, we create, we kind of visualize what we want to do for our business and all that good stuff. But so yesterday you weren't there on a Thursday, so I was left to my own vices here, and so I woke up and long story, but I played tennis,
Okay.
which I never would do because I'm like, oh, I don't have much like admin time to get caught up. Anyway,
Right.
I played tennis yesterday for an hour and a half session, and
Wow.
then I have an issue with my forehand, so that the coach was like explaining it to me for like another 20 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, I gave up 2 hours for this tennis thing. Oh my God. I will tell you what. I need to do it. I need to do it every time. I was so like productive
Yeah.
yesterday and I did feel very clear and I felt so good. I
Yeah.
did.
I
I missed
know.
you, but
Of
man, if
course.
I
You better
combine
have.
tennis, I missed you a lot. But I
Yeah.
was like, damn, if I combine tennis with
Well,
Hannah,
next time I'll drive down, we'll go to tennis together,
we
and
should.
then it'd be so fun.
We
I have
should.
not played tennis in many moons,
Oh,
many, many
well,
moons.
we
And
can
now
play
I'm
tennis.
getting fairly pregnant. So
That's true. What we could also just take a walk, Hannah. We could
maybe
do
a walk.
something like that. We'll
Yeah, I
just
just don't want to fall down.
no, I'm
We
not
will
letting
play
you
a
fall
light
down.
tennis game.
That sounds good. We can
Yeah,
just lightly hit the ball back and
just
forth and
volley.
move. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love a good volley. So, as I was mentioning about the labs, so I
Mhm.
talked about the lipid panel. I think you should have a lipid panel checked every year.
Yes.
Um, I just had mine done
I know.
finally.
I was like, wait, I want to know my last ones. I'm going to look it up while you talk.
Yeah, I think that everybody should get that. Also, another one that is not almost ever ordered, it's not commonly ordered as a routine, is fasting insulin. And I have been absolutely fascinated by the results because throughout my career, I never ordered that until I started Body by Bariatrics. So that's a new one for me. So I haven't seen the trends for over a decade, but I have seen them over the last 2 years. And what I can tell you is it tells you basically how much dietary sugar you're taking in.
Mm.
So if that's up and you're like, no, my diet's perfect. I'm like, you got to get with Hannah because it's not. Maybe we should journal. Maybe we should reflect on what we're taking in because it's just not there.
Hmm.
And so the lower that number, just truly the better. You want it less than 20, 25. Some of our patients have it as low as like single digits. So
Hmm.
that's absolutely fantastic. And another one is looking at your liver functions. I like to get a complete metabolic panel, a CMP. So I'm looking at an ALT in that specifically, or AST as well. That will tell you if that ALT is really high, that's on par with fatty liver disease. Sometimes the ALT and AST might go up a little bit right after surgery for some reason. I don't know why, but they're not like skyrocketing. So if those numbers are
Right.
really high, we might have some advanced or more severe disease. And then finally, the last one that I think is really important is the hemoglobin A1C. And I'm saying this one even over your glucose, which is also in the CMP or the BMP, which is the
Mhm.
basic metabolic panel. And that is because the hemoglobin A1C is a kind of a, it's not just that day or the day before, it's more of a 3 month average of
Mhm.
how your blood sugar kind of sits. So
Yeah.
sometimes we have patients who have numbers that are over 10, and
Yeah.
that's so scary, so scary.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they
If
get in
you,
the force after surgery.
I know. If you look at the charts of what that means, like what that translates to, and you see an A1C over 10, I want to say a 10, it means your average blood sugar is like a 270 or something. And normal, we want less than 100, like,
Yeah.
80 to 100 or so is normal. Um, so I just looked. I do need to work on my lipid panel a little
What
bit.
is
My
it? Are you going to
triglycerides
reveal
were
it?
good, sure.
What were they?
My triglycerides, hold on, I have to go back to it.
This
Um,
is
so my triglycerides were 118 and
okay.
150 is the
Yep.
normal. But my HDL, which you want higher over 50, mine was only 44.
Okay.
And my LDL was right at reference, was 100. So, which is like the
Okay.
cutoff. So, just a little tweak. And now, right now, I can't even retest because it's your lipids are all messed up in pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like all your labs are just weird when you're pregnant. So it's like I can't recheck. So this is from uh March.
Perfect. So yeah, we I think to so again, my favorite phrase of all time, to improve yourself, you must first know yourself.
Hmm.
And so you need to know those levels. And so then after this next beautiful baby girl comes, who is yet to be named, or at least I know of, when she comes after that, okay, here's our baseline. Let's see what we can do
Yeah,
after this.
absolutely.
So excellent. So those are the labs. Okay, so we talked about diet and exercise. Okay, great. But let's go into the more kind of the nuanced things that aren't talked about in these very foundational pillars. And the next one is do not worry yourself to death. And that is about chronic stress.
Mm-hmm.
Are you stressed out at all? I'm not.
Me? What would I be stressed out about right now?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, it makes you feel horrible. It might give you anxiety. It might make you just feel out of control, depressed, sad, angry, lonely, isolated, all the things. But it's messing with your hormones that have to play into the way you eat, your habits, when you eat, why you eat, your long-term health.
Yep.
So let's talk about even cortisol. We mentioned that earlier, how you have this dysregulated sympathetic nervous system, basically your stress response to things. Remember, it's, this whole fight or flight. It's
Mhm.
that, hey, it's just an email. It's okay.
Just
It's
an
just an
email.
email. You're not getting chased by a bear in the woods, but that
Yeah.
is kind of how we're doing it. And then what does that trigger? It does trigger sometimes emotional eating,
Hmm.
eating when you just don't even want to. You have to really just be very, very mindful. We have obviously our Project Reset and our small group therapy sessions with Laura every Monday, where she's really going into these things and understanding it and not just identifying what we're doing, but also giving us some real cognitive behavioral therapy
Hmm.
strategies, solutions, being more mindful, slowing it down. Now, we're in the middle of the holiday season, so this is very
Yeah.
timely. So this is a even more seasonal kind of an issue right now is just stress and
Yeah.
the economy and money and
Mhm.
gifts and having everything ready and prepared and perfect.
Yeah.
Hannah, what should we do? What should we do here to help to
Oh,
decrease
just
the stress?
well, for the holidays, just don't do any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like and my tree's not even up. No,
Good for
we
you.
we'll put it up. I just haven't had time. Um, No, I think that it is kind of taking a step back and looking at things in perspective. I think again, this is another know thyself thing. Like I think some people do really well with like journaling, and I'm like that would make me more stressed, so I'm never going to journal. But finding the outlet for you that works. Like if it is exercise, if it is meditation, if it's breath work, if it's screaming into the void, if
Mm,
whatever it is that's going to allow you. And also, like, then just saying no to things. Like, I really do think that that's part of it. I think sometimes, again, especially obviously, we know women are our biggest audience and our biggest market and everything. And so I think that women oftentimes, especially in this season, are tasked with doing a lot of the things and making the holiday magic and, taking care of that. And it's like, delegate it or say no or change the tradition, keep it simple for yourself on that. If it's something at work, make sure that you're advocating for yourself if there's too much on your plate, if they keep adding things to you. Every time that you say yes, they're gonna add something else to it. So like
mm,
be okay with saying no, or if there's plans that you don't really want to do. I mean, if it's something that's gonna bring you joy, and we're gonna talk about connection and things like that. So like it doesn't mean to isolate yourself, but if there's something that you're like, this is just causing more stress than it's worth, then you're allowed to say no. to things. But I think just finding what really works for you to kind of bring yourself back down to that normal level is going to be really important.
No, I love that. I love that. Like, follow your guts and be
Hmm.
spontaneous and enjoy yourself. And like, oh gosh, like we have another big club party tomorrow night, and I'm just like, same vibe as last year. If I don't
Yeah,
feel like being there, I'm like, let's go.
let's
I'm gonna
leave.
leave.
Yep.
Yeah, heck yeah. I'm gonna be where I want to be, have the conversations I want to have, and
Hmm.
I love it. Be unapologetic. My favorite word
Yep.
ever. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Now, speaking of, you already talked about this, but the whole thing about community and you can't live long alone.
Hmm.
And we're designed to be social creatures. We are social animals. We are like connection is one that, yes, we talk about, community being so important part of this whole kind of weight loss journey and that sort of thing. But connection, even outside of that, is what keeps
Hmm.
us alive. Like we depend on each other. We need each other. Sadness, isolation, like I said, just feeling socially isolated,
Hmm.
I think is one of the ones that are non-traditional that you might not think of all the time. But there is so much literature and evidence out there that it is
Hmm.
one of the main factors of early death. And
Yeah.
I think as you get older, yes, you might have lost your spouse or your partner and you might be by yourself. And it's just like, I think that once that happens, why does the other partner go downhill so quickly
So quickly.
thereafter?
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with that. So, personal story for my family, my grandparents actually ended up passing within 6 weeks of each other.
Yeah,
And my grandpa passed away, and then 6 weeks later, my grandma, and it was because they lived in a community. They lived, somewhere like in an independent living or assisted living type of place. But I think that they had just been each other's support system for so long that it was like sky's gone. What am I going to do now?
yeah.
And she just very
Mm,
quickly, I mean, I was in middle school or early high school. Like it's been a long time. And I think she just very rapidly deteriorated from that point on.
absolutely.
And it's
You hear
just,
that all the time. It's
yeah,
like, wait, what? And
yeah,
then and it's hard on you as the child. Like if you lose both of your parents quickly.
right.
My parents are getting older. My mom's 82. My dad's almost 80. And I've thought a lot. I mean, they live in the north and it's cold and rainy and snowy and horrible. And they have this house with stairs and, we have lifts there now and all that. But I'm like, you know what? I think that if I were to move them out of that very familiar environment
Mm.
into a place where they don't know it and I don't know, it's just their friends that they've had for since
Yeah,
we've lived there their 80 years of all the things. Like I know the guy at the post office. I know, hey, there's so and so at the bank. There's so and so at the Eden Park. Like
yeah.
all these things. You remove that. I think that it would accelerate
Hmm.
things. They would deteriorate very quickly.
Yeah,
And
I think if you've built that community for yourself, then yeah, it's like you don't want to remove that social system either.
I know. And we talk about this all the time, the statistic that like what is it, 95% of the world, even more than that, lives within 10 miles of where they were born.
Is that
They
true?
just live
Wow.
it's something crazy like that. Yeah, it's you look it up so I'm not misquoting it, but it's
Yeah.
something like the majority you live basically where you started is where
Yeah.
you end up. I mean my parents is true for them. They live in this
Yeah.
little bubble. I'm like, "What? Mom, listen, Florida's amazing and the
Yeah.
weather is incredible and it's just like no desire as they're
Not
like
at all.
powers out, shoveling ice and snow and sleet with a credit card
I
off of your
know.
thing. It's just like, ugh,
I know my sister said this the other day. They were iced in at their house in
yeah,
Connecticut. I'm like,
like why?
the high is 83 today.
I
So
know, it's so
I don't
nice.
know. I don't know her.
And you're in a little sweater because that's a little chilly for you.
Yeah, right? No, actually,
I
I'm
love it.
dying in this.
Well,
Turn
there
my
we
air
have it.
back on.
Yeah, the air is on in December. I'll
Yeah.
never get used to it. But
No.
so yes, support a community. That's why there's these communities like you're saying, like that you can live together. I think even like something like a group fitness class. I mean, man,
Yeah,
you're killing a lot of birds with one stone on
for
that one.
sure.
We have our
And
virtual support groups, all that
yeah.
stuff.
And I think that like you bringing up like the fitness class, like that's another place where it's like finding what you enjoy, and that's kind of how you can find community. It's like, great, if I love dancing, let's go do it in community. If I love crafting or whatever it might be. I'm gonna go find that and do it. Sometimes it's even just sitting next to somebody and doing something similar, or people do book clubs for this reason, or whatever it might be, and just finding that thing that brings you something. And you might connect with people who you wouldn't expect, or maybe you just stick with, maybe you've had your same friends for 30 years. I still have a text thread with my girlfriends from, gosh, spanning from kindergarten to through high school. Um, like we still text each other, and
I love it.
we live all across the country and stuff, so we don't actually, somebody now lives in the Middle East, so like we don't we don't really
Wow.
see each other. I know. She's a geologist. She lives out there, but it's like there's still that connection of and community in it.
I love it. I agree. And then, with our specific thing, I always say the best thing to come out of struggling with a disease like obesity is the shared stories and shared struggles, and
Hmm.
obviously the support groups. We have one on Facebook. We have a virtual one that meets monthly. We do a walking club, and that group has grown strong and mighty. And they show up. Some people had cosmetic surgery, and then another person from the walking club came and brought them food, and like,
Aw,
yeah,
so
super cool.
sweet.
So, yes, you can't live long alone, my friends.
Hmm.
So, we're going to go there. And then another really big one, which again, we have a whole episode on this, and this one is so huge. It's sleep. A
Hmm.
long life happens overnight. And by sleep, you need to get at least 6.5 hours a night, minimum. I mean, ideally, you want 7 to 8 hours.
I know.
How
Can you
many are
tell
you
it?
getting these days?
Well, can you
That
tell it to
sigh.
Elena? We're having some sleep issues in our house right now.
Oh
So at
boy.
the moment it's not great, but normally honestly it's not somewhere that I really struggle. I tend to get a decent amount of sleep because I enjoy it.
Absolutely. We
So,
all we all better enjoy it.
but
It's
between
so
it,
important.
yeah, pregnancy and a toddler, it's a little hit or miss right now.
Well, I think that you're a little bit of an outlier
Yeah, yeah,
era of
I'm not
your
a
life.
great example at this moment for sleep hygiene.
Well, we are, or that is another goal. That's 2026 goals. If you're
Yes.
making your resolutions, if that's your thing out there, we have a whole episode on SMART goals,
Hmm.
but this is one that you really should say, I need to get 7 hours of sleep a night. How am I going to reverse engineer that so that I'm not
Hmm.
doom scrolling at night? And therefore, doom scrolling also probably equals snacking at the same time, which also equals mindlessly having the TV on in the background. So there's all these things that if you kind of put that into play, maybe
Hmm.
some of these other things will also be kind of knocked out of your daily
Yeah.
life too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you can kind of like a habit stack almost in that sense.
Yeah. And so, why is sleep so important from a weight loss perspective? So, we talk a lot about these appetite regulating hormones, hunger hormones. So, if you are tired, if you're not sleeping enough, over time, the more it becomes kind of inconsistent, hit or miss, and the more sleep deprived you are, the more likely you're going to have higher levels of ghrelin. And
Hmm.
ghrelin, again, is that hunger hormone that tells and signals your brain that you are hungry and that you want to eat, and you're just going to never kind of be satisfied
Hmm.
with that as well. Leptin, which is the satiety or satisfaction hormone that says, yes, I've eaten enough, I'm full, let's go, we're done. Leptin levels are going to be low. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I feel like I'm a bottomless pit. And it's like, well, you might feel that way because you don't have that turn off signal.
Right.
Same thing with peptide YY. This is another one that promotes fullness, and that level will be dampened or diminished because if you're just not getting enough sleep. So this whole compilation of ghrelin up, leptin, and peptide YY down, these hormones are going to make you just be overdrived to overeat,
Hmm.
and clearly we don't want that. That's a tough one right there.
Yeah, and when you get that kind of uncontrolled hunger, you're also just the choices that you're going to make with that. So again, it's another one of those like snowball type of things of like, yeah, I'm very hungry and I do feel like a bottomless pit. You're not going for like a chicken breast and broccoli. You're going
No.
to go for the chips, you're going to go for the candies, the cookies, whatever. Ice cream is a big one for people in the evenings. Like that's the things that you're going to turn towards, and that's also not going to help with satiety factors and things like that. So,
Mhm.
it does. It really just leads to those different choices.
And then there's a lot of chicken or the egg phenomenon in that if you don't, if you're eating later at night, it makes you have to digest that. So that
Mhm.
increases all the things. And then
Right.
when your basal metabolic rate is increased and all the things that are happening, your body's going to get hotter just
Hmm.
because your heart's working a little harder to digest the food and all of that. And if your temperature, your body temps up, guess what? You're not sleeping as well either.
Right.
So you really have to be mindful there. So go to sleep and it'll just help with all those hormonal imbalances, helps with
Mhm.
your just cardiometabolic health, the visceral fat, everything is diminished. It helps to diminish some of those inflammatory markers as well. So
Yeah.
lots of benefit to getting to sleep. Go sleep, my
Yes.
friends. Go
Yes.
to sleep. Everybody, Elena, listen up, everybody. We're
Yeah,
going to
right.
sleep. We are going to
Oh,
sleep. So there's all these things,
yeah.
and obviously you're looking at your overall metabolic age, your
Mhm.
biology matters. We know this, your genetics, your hormones, menopause status, emotional eating patterns, just years of metabolic dysfunction can make it really just impossible. And I think, we obviously this is what we do here, but if you want to be younger from a metabolic standpoint, yes, you're going to change your diet, your exercise, your habits, you're getting support, you're diminishing stress, you're practicing mindfulness, you're going to sleep. Okay, great. But if you still are struggling, yeah,
Mhm.
this is where the GLP-1s, weight loss meds come in, bariatric surgery comes
Mhm.
in, and these things can help you in conjunction with the other thing to have, again, I love this as well, this synergy to actually get the results, diminish some of these kind of more visceral fat and live a
Mhm.
longer, healthier, happier life.
Yeah. And something just going back to it because it's popped in my head as you were talking about it with weight loss surgery is another big thing is sleep apnea.
Oh,
So we have
yeah.
so many people out there who are having sleep apnea, which is when you're actually stopping breathing at night and in a rest that's apnea. And so like that's not good. You don't want to
Mm.
be that. So the weight loss can really help. And again, that's another big one when we see that central distribution of fat. But it's definitely a big one in the longevity thing too.
Mm. Yeah, so true. Another comorbidity or
Hmm.
weight-related issue, which is going to be improved. But then, yeah, again, all of this starts this cascade in the right direction. You're going to
Right.
start to snowball forward. Insulin sensitivity improves. You're
Hmm.
going to get rid of the sleep apnea. When you sleep better, you get it. You
Yeah.
get the whole point. So
Yeah.
yeah, we want to go for it.
Right, absolutely. And I think that, if all of this sounds really overwhelming, you're like, oh my God, I have to change my entire life, top to bottom, head to toe, pick one thing. Like,
Yeah.
take from this and be like, you know what would be, I tell this to patients all the time, like when we're talking about making changes, especially when there's somebody who has like kind of a long lead up to surgery, maybe they have a insurance requirement that makes them, do 6 months of visits or whatever. I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what? Let's start slow. Let's start easy. And I'm like, pick the low hanging fruit. If you're
Yes.
like, with that, you're like, you know what? Yeah, great. I can add a serving of vegetables in a day. Start there. Like, choose that and see. Or like you mentioned, if we can cut out that sugar sweetened beverage, cut it out first and do that for a while and then move on to the next thing. Because if you do try to approach this from an everything all at once standpoint, you're probably going to feel very overwhelmed. You're going to
Yeah.
stress, you're going to burn yourself out. And then
Yes.
it's not going to help you with anything because you're going to get so frustrated and then just say, that's it, I'm done. And I'm giving up on all of this. So I think pick one or two things that you're like, okay, that sounds like something I can manage for a period of time and make it a habit, make it a routine. And then I'll add in 10, 15 minutes of exercise a couple times a week and start there and snowball that up. And so all of these things can really kind of build on each other over time. It's not an
Mm.
overnight project.
Oh, such a good summary. Yes, absolutely. Pick one thing and try to stick to it as best as you can. Mine's twofold. I'm going to start moving even more. I know that I feel great, like we talked about, and I am going to get more sleep. That's a big one because as you see, I text you in the middle of the night. I'm sending you funny reels like, "Oh, Hannah,
Hmm.
we should do this," and I'm like, "Oh, she's active now too. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
almost
not
midnight.
great.
What are we
Yeah.
doing?"
Just nothing useful.
nothing useful. So we
Yeah.
are going to go to sleep more.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we're going to work on,
My husband
everything
did
else is going to
say,
fall into
I think
place.
this morning even, he said, we're going to bed at 9 o'clock because it's the only way that we're getting any sleep.
He ain't
Like, I'm
wrong.
going to put the baby down and then we're going to bed.
He's right. We always would
Yeah.
say we were going to do that, but then it becomes a whole nother episode of like, well, but this is my me
It's the
time and
only time
I
you
need,
have during the day. Yeah, we definitely fall into that trap of it
yeah.
because,
Ugh,
we go from, and everybody does. You go from work to your home responsibilities to just everything. And then all of a sudden it's like, I just want to
I know. I
for a little
just want a
bit.
minute. And then you're
Yeah.
like, the
And then
next
it's
morning, you're
three
like, why did I
hours
do that?
later.
Yeah, I know. Why did I
Yeah.
do that?
Maybe I just need to set a timer on my me time.
Exactly. So we're
Yeah.
still having me time in 2026, but we are focusing, making sure we do all these other things too.
Yeah, just all of these other
Oh,
things.
it's
No
just a
big
couple
deal.
things.
Just a couple
Okay, we
things.
got it. We're going to be perfect and we're
Yes.
going to live forever. Got it. That's the
Done.
conclusion.
Nailed it. Yep. Immediately. I will do that with a newborn too.
Perfect.
Sure. Sure,
Yeah,
sure,
good
sure.
luck.
Yeah.
Good luck out there. So, well, yeah, let's talk. How Hannah, take us out here.
Well, if you want to find us, of course, you can find us on Instagram at Dr. No, not Dr. X Dietitian, the Weight Loss Collab. Wow, that was a throwback.
Throwback.
At Dr. Dovec at hannahschuyler.rd. If you are interested in any services with Body by Bariatrics, you can find us at Body by Bariatrics or bodybybariatrics.com or send us a text at 407-543-0971. If you want to get started with us, we're happy to help out and we're gonna get this ball rolling for you.
Yep. Here's to a long, healthy life. Thanks for
Yes.
listening, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Talk to you later. Bye.